Hi everybody, it's Onyx here, and today I am bringing you part 2 of What If Deku was the reincarnation of Grey. Someone pointed this out in my comment section that Izuku's hair should have been black instead of white. I'm aware that I'm just making it more interesting that way. I do apologize if you think it's wrong. And also I'd like to bring up that the support on the last video is phenomenal, that you guys actually liked it. It's only been 3 days and you guys already smashed a like goal. And if you guys would actually like to see the next part as soon as possible, try and get this video to 400 likes and I'll try and get the next video as soon as possible. And also if you guys have watched the Konosuba in the last video, you guys have known I actually told you guys to spam the comment section, and you guys managed to actually get it to 250 comments, which is really insane, and I'd like to thank you guys so much for that. I want to do a little test here. If you guys can spam the comment section once you've seen this on the premiere, I want you guys just to hop down into the comment section at this very moment and spam anything. Just don't spam anything racist in my comment section, please. And also one last thing, if you guys would actually like to support me any other way, I have a Patreon that is linked down in the description down below. And also I recently had my first ever Patreon on there. Your shout out goes to Dev Cheat. Thank you so much for joining the Patreon and becoming a member. And also if you guys would like to support me a different way, you guys can actually hit the subscribe button down below. It helps me become more motivated to actually upload more videos to this channel and keeps me more interested in actually uploading, because it helps me actually know you guys actually like my content and keep coming back for more because you guys actually really enjoy it. I've just had a 2-minute rant here. I do apologize for that, and without further ado, let's begin our video. We're going to start our what if off with the perspective of Izuku Midoriya. 5 days after when Izuku met Melissa, Izuku continuously trained with All Might, perfecting his extra skills and his more control of his own power. Now Izuku's able to actually summon giant ice sculptures when he was practicing on the water. As for how to get rid of it, All Might would try and teach him how to actually melt it, but Izuku couldn't do that at this very moment. So All Might just punched it to get rid of it. All Might decided to thinking he may not get enough practice with him alone, so All Might decided to call up an extra teacher that he had a while back that taught him how to do combat and trained him how to use his quirk. As All Might started shivering the moment he picked up the phone. Hi, All Might said, shivering in his boots. How long's it been? Toshinori, Gantorino said through the phone, scaring the shit out of All Might. All Might explained to Gran Torino that he might need some help with his quote-unquote successor. All Might was saying this was the only way to actually get Gran Torino to come and help him, of course, as Gran Torino came and helped train Izuku for another 2 months, with Izuku being around Melissa a lot more and more, with them becoming bestest of friends. You could actually mistake them for dating half the time. As for Izuku's training, how that all went off, Izuku would have figured out how to conjure little bits of ice magic into what Diamond Head basically does when he shoots out little icicles out of his hands. The next few days, Izuku's been training with All Might, as one day Izuku would have got a call from his mother asking him where has he been going for the past couple of days. Our mom says Izuku would have replied saying, "I've been training in secret," Izuku said. "Well, you do that anyways, so what's the difference here? You've been getting a lot more recently," Inka said, worried. There's no need to worry about it, Mom, it's okay," Izuku said. "Well, I'm coming over to where you are right now to see what you're doing," she said as she hung up the phone. As Izuku sat there for 25 minutes waiting for his mother to arrive, as someone closed his eyes at the back of him, as the person just said, "Guess who?" she said, as Izuku moved her arms away. "Let me guess, Melissa," he said, as she just smiled and hugged him, with her breast pinched against his neck, as Izuku just let out a slight blush at this moment, little nosebleed in that. At this moment, this was very awkward as Inko came around the corner looking at Izuku and Melissa in a weird state. She just coughed at them. She said as she rushed over to Izuku. "When were you going to introduce me to her?" Inko said, as Izuku just was puzzled at this with Melissa's blushing face. We're not dating," Melissa said, blushing like mad, with her speech slurred. As Izuku replied saying, "Yeah, we're not dating yet, I don't think." Izuku looking over at Melissa with her blushing even more, being put on the spot. We're not dating," she said. "We're just really good friends." "Oh, are you?" she said, as Inko just wrapped her arm around Melissa, dragging her to the side. "So, what do you think about my boy, eh?" she said. This made Melissa blush even more, her temperature spiking, and she just fainted, as Izuku rushed over and caught her at that second. As Inko would have just said to Izuku, "Could you go take her to the bench, please?" "Izuku?" "Yeah, no problem, Mum," Izuku said, taking her over to there. A couple of hours went by and Melissa woke up as Inko rapidly apologized for assuming that those two were together. She did apologize rapidly enough that she could hear giant wind pressures coming off of her. You guys may get that joke, I don't know. Let's just skip all the way to the entrance exam. I really fell asleep during this recording, so let's just skip all the way. As all those months went by, Izuku and Melissa talked a lot more as they got closer, and closer. Izuku and Melissa have gotten that close you can call them brother and sister comparing of what they know. Every single time Izuku was around Melissa, he could feel butterflies in his stomach. So before the day of the entrance exam, Izuku went up to All Might and asked him about what this feeling was. If he told his mother about it, she'll probably snitch to Melissa, so Izuku told All Might about this, with All Might just saying, "Yes, I can finally give my pupil fatherly advice," All Might said. As All Might told Izuku about birds and the bees, but Izuku already knew about this, so it was nothing new, Izuku said. As All Might finally gave in and told Izuku about it, as Izuku would have just told All Might, saying that, "So if I feel this feeling, it's love," Izuku said, with an innocent sounding voice. "Well, yeah, it is." As the day of the entrance exam finally arrived, with Izuku going down into the hallway, as Izuku saw a girl about to trip, Izuku rushed over and grabbed her by her backpack, pulling her up, as the girl turned around to him and told him, "Thank you for saving me," she said. "It must have been really bad luck to fall on my first day here," she said with a smiling giggle. As Izuku just said, "Please watch out for yourself next time," he said, as Izuku walked away from her, going into the hall to actually sit down and listen to President Mike's speech. "How are you doing, everybody?" President Mike shouted at the top of his lungs, trying to get everyone's attention, as President Mike just explained to them everything like he would do in canon, with Ida standing up, telling them it's a disgrace to the actual full school of My Hero Academia, that they are making so much of a mistake, like the big 0-pointer. "And you at back of there, shut up," he shouted, as Izuku just looked at him with a death glare, this making Ida get the cold shoulder to sit back down. As President Mike would have said, "Thank you, whoever made him sit down. So, let's continue with our speech," which he did so, as we do a little time skip of when they all went outside for their first entrance exam. If you guys are wondering what the points would be, I would say I'll put them on the screen at this very moment, or I'll just tell you right now, which I would do. Izuku second place, with Momo in first. Well, that's the only thing I can remember, so let's just carry on. Debated. As Izuku and Uraka was both standing next to each other in the entrance exam, Izuku was stretching to get ready to make sure his body was nice and limber for the entrance exam, as Uraka would have just tapped him on his shoulder. "Excuse me, thank you for saving me," she said. "Oh, you've already thanked me, no worries," Izuku said, as President Mike would have just said 3, 2, 1, go! As everyone in the entrance exam started to run out to the front gates like they all would have done in canon, with Izuku using his ice power to actually slide himself across the floor, getting a couple of the robots to actually slip and get damaged, but not destroying them. Izuku would have seen this, as he would have thrown little bits of ice shards at them, cracking them in their actual cores, making them blow up, creating a mighty explosion across the area. Izuku would have continued to do this until the 3-pointers came around. For the 3-pointers, Izuku would have tried his best to try and destroy them with just ice shards. That wasn't working it, so Izuku just decided to say, "Fuck it, I'm going all out," he said, as Izuku throws some ice shards into his hand, creating a giant mist of ice around his body in a circular motion, as Izuku threw his arm up, creating a giant glacier of ice, destroying 25, 3, 2, and 1 pointers in a row. Most of the teachers in the respective areas would have just said, "Whoa, what the hell?" they said, as they would have just done some more research into this kid. "Wait, he's quirkless? Actually, he's not. He's a late bloomer," All Might would have interjected, saying, as a girl with blackish, purplish hair would have looked over at Izuku with little lustful eyes. "He's adorable," she said, as Nezu would have caught wind of this. "Nemuri, he's 15. Back off," Nezu said, as Nemuri said, "Philly." As we cut back to Izuku's point of view with him destroying robots, Izuku would have managed to get over a couple of 120 points of that. Destroying 3-pointers and plus that giant ice sculpture he did would have got him a lot of points as well. Izuku would have kept on destroying pointers after pointers of robots, getting him racking up more and more points, with him slowly running out of breath. Oh god, that took a lot out of me," Izuku said, panting, as Izuku felt some giant rumbling on the ground. Izuku would have paid attention to this and looked up at it, seeing a giant monster behemoth that was destroying building by building. The more it ran around, more it destroyed in its wake. Izuku thought, "There's no point in destroying that, it's a 0-pointer. I'm just gonna back up and go," Izuku said. Before he heard a scream, Izuku turned back around to see a girl with blackish purplish hair trapped under a robot, as Izuku would have rushed over at supersonic speeds trying to find a way to save her. Izuku found the only way to do it was to try and make pillars to make sure the bulking behemoth didn't actually make it to them. Izuku did that, as it managed to somehow work, but it didn't at the same time. The moment Izuku arrived there and put the pillars up, the monster behemoth known as a 0-pointer broke through those little ice barriers and tried to pummel Izuku and the purple-haired girl. Before that happened, however, Izuku got really mad and past his limitations of using his ice quote-unquote quirk. We all know it's magic, you guys who are watching this video. Izuku passed his limitations and actually summoned a giant ice golem to hold the monster in place. Izuku and this Wonder girl, let's just say that, Izuku and this girl actually went off, and Izuku ran to her to safety. Just like the original, the 0-pointer would have fell down and blown up, with an explosion happening behind Izuku for dramatic effect. Izuku and the girl both went out of the arena and actually managed to meet up with Recovery Girl, so she can actually heal her. Izuku was about to walk off before he was stopped by the purple-haired girl. "Excuse me, but thank you very much," she said, as Izuku looked back and said, "No problem, love," Izuku said, letting out a little wink for teasing her. She just blushed. "Alright, I'll see you in a bit then. My name's Jiro. Kayuki Jiro," she said. Izuku looked back around and said, "My name's Izuku Midoriya. It's nice to meet you," he said, starting to walk off. As a couple of days later, Izuku would have actually got his acceptance letter into UA, as he would have got a call from Melissa as well at that time. "Hey Izuku, did you get your letter?" she said. "Yeah, I did, but I haven't opened it yet." "Is it okay if you put your webcam on, please?" she said, as Izuku turned his camera on to reveal the disc out of the packaging. The disc activated to reveal All Might, speaking to Izuku like he would in canon, but not as dramatic, because Izuku already had a power, quote-unquote magic of course, as people would think this is a quirk, but it's really not. As Izuku would have been accepted into Class 1A, as Melissa would have been really happy, but also sad that she couldn't go to Class 1A, of course, because of her being quirkless. So she took an opportunity and actually went for the making machines route. She's basically going for the support route. Izuku would have been really happy for her, as Izuku would have just let out a cute little smile that Melissa would have blushed at. A couple of days went by as Izuku got everything ready as he went out the front door like canon. Izuku would have walked down the street and would have been recognized by a little bit of people that were in the entrance exam. They wouldn't have gone up to him for the example of him being, well, you know, as Izuku would have arrived at UA, taken off his shoes and put him into his locker. Izuku would have been standing out of Class 1A like the original, taking in, there must be a giant here, Jesus, the door's massive, Izuku said, as Izuku walked into the classroom to be greeted with Bakugo and Ida arguing like the original. Izuku went to go sit down, as once the moment he sat down, however, the purple-headed girl would have gone right next to him and say, "Hi, you're Izuku Midoriya, right?" she said, as Izuku would have said, "Yes, I am," and you must be the girl I saved," Izuku said, as Jiro would have just blushed at that, saying, "Yeah, I am," she said, as Izuku and Jiro would have talked for a little bit until Aizawa busted down the door like a pro god moves, dude, as Izuku would have just had everything like the original. By the time Izuku actually got into the change room, most people were staring at him for his body and everything like that. Most people would have come up to him asking him what his quirk was, as the word quirk caught Bakugo's ears. "Quirk? Me must smell quirk," Bakugo said, as Izuku would have caught the eye of Bakugo being very annoyed for some reason, as Izuku looked at Bakugo with Bakugo looking away, scoffing at him. Izuku and everyone else would have arrived outside with Aizawa just saying, "You're 2 minutes late. Okay, then we'll make up for this in training," as Izuku and everyone else started their little run around the school for making it up to Aizawa. Everyone would have gone through the same things like the original with testing. Izuku would have thrown the ball first because he was actually number 1 in the entrance exam. Izuku would have actually used his smart tactic and actually threw the ball, and then immediately used an ice pillar to actually lift it up into the air as high as it could, raising it from the ground like a tree. Izuku would have managed to actually get around about 2,000 to 5,000 meters. Depending on how far his ice could go, the more it went up, the thinner it became. The moment it got to 5,000 meter mark, it snapped and fell down. The moment it fell down, however, Aizawa managed to catch the debris with a scarf to make sure it didn't hurt any of the students in the process of this. Every single test would have been the same for everyone, but Izuku would have gone a lot bit higher. Thanks to his superhuman strength, Izuku managed to get around about 200 on grip, around about, I would say, at least past the sandbox. As for his side-to-side lunges, he was actually using some ice to actually slit himself side to side. It made it easier for him to do, so he basically said it was almost the same score as Todoroki, almost surpassing it, of course. As for the chart, Momo Yaoyorozu Shoto Todoroki, Izuku Midoriya, Katsuki Bakugo, and Mineta in last, as everyone else's things would have been like the original but bumped down one because of Izuku being in 3rd place. Seeing the scores that were on the board, Bakugo lost it and instantly attacked Izuku with explosions. As Bakugo was on top of Izuku, Bakugo threw an explosion at Izuku's face, as Izuku blocked it with ice. This annoyed Aizawa to the point he intervened instantly. "Katsuki Bakugo, principal's office now!" Aizawa shouted at him, as Katsuki would have just said, "Huh, damn nerd's useless. He wouldn't know anything even if it hit him in the fucking face," Bakugo shouted at him. "Alright, that's it. Principal's office now. You're out of my class." Bakugo shouted. What? You can't do that. I'm the best one here. Huh, best, Shoto said, scoffing. As we cut to Bakugo's point of view in the principal's office, Izuku was called to the principal's office a couple of minutes after Bakugo got there. As Bakugo explained, shouting of course, why Izuku shouldn't be in the hero course. Katsuki Bakugo, Nezu said, what do you want to do when you're a hero? I want to surpass all my no. What do you want to be as a hero? Nezu said. I'm going to be the richest hero of them all. That's not what heroes do, Nezu said, as Bakugo just scoffed, saying, yeah, they do. They're only for the money. Alright, you have one more chance, Bakugo. Flame upon Izuku or any other classmates like this again, you will be expelled from UA, and you'll be thrown in prison for assault. You got that, Bakugo? Nezu said, as everyone went out the class like usual. Sorry there's not much detail in that, I do apologize. As everyone else went out of UA, being greeted with everyone smiling. I'd thank you all for indulging yourself in my content today. If you guys would actually like more of this series, please tell me in the Premiere chat down the right side of your screens, or if you're on mobile, click the live chat symbol and please tell me in there by just saying more or something like that or other. And if you want a goal, I don't know one, but I'll just put it on the screen while I'm editing the video. If you guys would actually like to hit that, you guys get it as soon as possible, of course. As a daily shout out, the Discord goes to Bruh. I'm being serious, that's his name, Bruh. Thank you for joining the Discord server, and if you guys would actually like to be the next shout out of the episode, or the series in general, the next episode, or anything like that or other, please join the Discord server that is down below. We're trying to hit 200 members by the end of the week. That would be highly appreciated if you did so. And also one last thing, I have a Twitch that is linked down in the description down below. If you guys would actually like to engage on me there, I read every single message that is in the live chat. Recently we actually managed to hit over 28 followers on there, which is highly appreciated of y'all. If you guys can go into the link in the description, it should be the top link. I thank you all for watching and see you all later, bye.
I am a registered sex offender. I stuck my dick into a blender. Your mom is a transgender. I am a professional nude sender.